Hey, what's up, you guys? It's Six. Welcome back to my channel. So, Tears of the Kingdom. Am I right? Oh my god, I am so excited for this game that I can't play yet. Because unfortunately, if this video is to go out this week, that means I have to record prior to release date. But if you're watching this on Patreon on Friday, congrats, it's release day. Go get you your game. I'm so excited for you. And if you're watching this the day after, on Saturday, on the day after release as well, I hope you are enjoying your game. Or if you're gonna go get it right now, I hope you enjoy it after you start playing. I hope you're having a great time. I wish I was you so bad. Anyway, I thought I would show you guys this little speed paint, of course, of these Link and Zelda sticker designs. And I don't have much to say about these illustrations, unfortunately, for this voiceover, because I'm having to do things in a very weird order so that I can devote unholy hours to Tears of the Kingdom when it comes out on Friday. So I actually don't know how these stickers ended up turning out. I just know that they are the Tears of the Kingdom designs for Link and Zelda, and that I was very excited to make them. Had a little bit of trouble getting there, so hopefully the end result is nice and cute and how I wanted it. But anyway, like I said, because of the weird order and because I don't have Tears of the Kingdom yet, I can't share my opinions on Tears of the Kingdom or these illustrations. But you know what I can share my opinions on? Breath of the Wild! Obviously it had a huge impact on the Zelda community, so I thought it would still be fun to kind of share my hot takes one last time before we transition to Tears of the Kingdom, because I think I have an interesting perspective on Breath of the Wild as a game. I have quite a few unpopular opinions because it is actually, fun fact, my first ever Zelda game. I did not play Nintendo games growing up. Well, I did play some Nintendo games. I played stuff like one singular Kirby game for like 2 days. I played Nintendogs. I played Mario Party. That's about it. I didn't play Pokemon growing up. I had maybe Sapphire, and I beat it, and I played it, and that was the only Pokemon game I ever played again, other than, you know, the newer games. But as I was growing up, I wasn't into kind of like the action or RPG or storytelling type games like that. I was playing stuff like Cookie Mama, so I never picked up a Zelda game on any console until Breath of the Wild, and it was an interesting story, I guess. Not super interesting, but the way that it captured me, it's interesting in my mind because it impacted me so greatly. And so it was in 2017, obviously, when the game released, and my brother was playing it on the Wii U, because I was a Wii U player, in the front room, and I walked in, and I was like, what are you playing? Because at this point in time, I was getting a lot more into video games. I was playing stuff like Undertale, the Dragon Age series. I'd completed the first and second game at this point. So I was starting to be captured by a lot more games of that caliber, I guess, that type of genre, kind of like fantasy kind of thing. And so I saw him, and it wasn't like the story or the gameplay or anything that interested me. It was the graphics that drew me in. I remember it was like a lot of red rocky area, so it might have been in either Akala or in Death Mountain, but either way, he was literally just climbing, and I was like, what is this game? And he was like, oh, it's the new Zelda. And I was like, oh, because again, keep in mind, I didn't play a Zelda game. All I'd ever known about Zelda is who Link was, and that he was not Zelda. So I saw him playing, and I was like, this is so interesting somehow. I'm really like intrigued by this. Can I play? And he let me, and then it took maybe 2 minutes for me to turn to him and be like, can I borrow this? And he let me, because the thing is, he wasn't into it at first, which is so funny to me because he also, to my knowledge, didn't play Zelda games growing up. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, my brother, if you're watching. But I don't think he played Zelda games very much growing up. He did play other Nintendo games, but I don't think he was as much into Zelda games, and he, fun fact, speedruns this game now. He's always coming into my room and he's like, have you seen this glitch? Have you seen this? Have you done this? You should try this. And I don't know how those work, but I like that he's excited about it and that he likes the game. But he didn't at the time, and so he let me borrow it, which was a huge mistake for my school work situation, because I was so just unhinged about how much I liked Breath of the Wild. I would get on Tumblr and I would scroll through my feed, and God forbid I see anything Zelda related, because the Wii U, it's coming out, and I'm playing Breath of the Wild now. Forget whatever I was doing on Tumblr, who cares? It's Link time now. So I was playing a lot on there, and then I would go to school, and on lunch, curse anyone who ever said anything to me about Zelda during our lunch, because then that's all I'm thinking about is Zelda for the rest of the day. Calculus out of my brain. Don't have enough room for you or memorizing formulas. Unfortunately, I'm too busy memorizing recipes for hearty durians. Anyway, lots of Breath of the Wild. You could not talk to me about Breath of the Wild, because I was always, thank God I was not a Switch player, because Jesus Christ, I would have played it 24/7. The Wii U was such a big behemoth to set up, and obviously you had to have it plugged in and everything, all that. Thank God I did not have it on the Switch, because I would have got it taken away from me in class, probably, because I would have been like, what? I'm sorry, I'm fighting this moblin right now. I can't do math. I'm sorry. So yeah, lots of Breath of the Wild. I could not take myself away from it. And like I said, it's my first Zelda game, so I have a lot of opinions that might be differing from the community. So again, if you grew up with Zelda as a child and you don't agree with me, fair enough. Take everything I say with a grain of salt, because I don't have the same experiences or mindset as someone who played a lot of Zelda games as a child. But anyway, getting finally into the hot takes. We're 7 minutes in and I haven't even mentioned my first one, so let's do that. I like that weapons break in Breath of the Wild. I think it makes sense, especially considering some of your weapons are things like freaking torches and sticks. I'm sorry, if you expected a stick and a torch to not break, what are you talking about? Look at what you're up against. What do you mean? What do you mean by that? If you expect a tree branch that is barely bigger than your forearm not to snap when you hit a beast with it, you're strange. I don't understand you. A moblin is twice your size. If you hit that thing with a stick, it's gonna snap. The stick is a splinter to a moblin. You're kidding me. And I get that it's kind of maybe like a bigger, thicker stick, so you can get like 1 or 2 hits in, but it's still a stick. Who knows what a moblin's skin is made of? Who knows how hard it is? You're kidding me if you think that's not gonna break. I do agree with some people when they say that there should have been maybe like some kind of like blacksmith situation where if your weapons are damaged, you can take them to a blacksmith and get them repaired. It gives you an excuse to hunt for things like ores and stuff. Like, for example, the crafting mechanic in Animal Crossing, of all things, New Horizons, I think is really interesting. And I think that if you were able to find things like ore deposits, which you can already find in Breath of the Wild, things like iron and stuff, I don't think you can find iron in Breath of the Wild, but if you were able to, rather than kind of like these fancy crystals like the opal and the ruby and sapphire and what have you, if you were able to find things like iron deposits and stuff like that and take them to a blacksmith, I think that would be really interesting. But at the same time, since they didn't implement the blacksmith mechanic, I still like that weapons break, because it makes sense to me. It makes sense that your tiny little claymore wouldn't be able to withstand all of these giant monsters without receiving some type of damage. It does make sense to me that they break, and they respawn. So why are you mad? Like, people are always like, oh, I don't want to use my big weapons with all this durability because they're my best weapons. I don't want to use it because they'll break. They reset after a blood moon. They reset and they're in the exact same place as you found them before. So what is the point of being mad? And again, because the blood moon resets them, I can see why they didn't include the aspect of a blacksmith, because the blood moon renders it useless. You don't need a blacksmith. You don't need to waste your time hunting for crafting materials to repair your weapon. When they reset, use your weapons. Let them break. You will find another one. I swear. I promise. Literally. For example, if you're a more experienced player, if you're a newer player, I understand the frustration of finding what you think is a good weapon that has like 5 durability and then it breaks. The soldier's broadswords, anybody? I definitely understand the frustration of trying to find new weapons, but if you're a more experienced player, and a lot of experienced players complain about this, the freaking castle is literally loaded with good weapons. You know where they are. You know where to find them. So use them. And don't complain when they break. Just wait for a blood moon. And then they're there again. So yeah, I really, a lot of people complain about your weapons breaking, but I don't think it's a fair thing to complain about when they respawn. If your weapons broke and then you could never get them back again, I totally understand why people would be angry about that, why people would be frustrated with that mechanic. But that's not the case. They respawn. So what are you complaining about? What are you complaining about? It makes sense. It makes sense that they break. You're going up against fierce enemies. Your little sword is not capable of withstanding all of that. And the ones that are bigger, of course, they would eventually become damaged over time because you're still fighting giant monsters. Look at a Hinox. It's huge. It is huge. You're telling me that your sword is going to be good after that? What are you talking about? You're crazy. Anyway, so I think it makes complete sense. And also, I think the developer's purpose of it, I think they did mention a handful of times that the reason that your weapons break is because they are encouraging you to explore the world and go find stuff, which makes so much sense to me. Hyrule in this game is so big. It is so big. There is so much to explore in this game. It is just absolutely incredible. The amount of shrines, the Korok seeds, for one. Oh my god, there's 900. I still haven't found them all. I still have not found them all. My god. There's so much to this game. So the fact that they implemented a mechanic to ensure that you're going all around looking for stuff, I think is amazing, and it really immerses you into that world. And I think that's part of why I played Breath of the Wild so much as I was growing up, as I was getting into the game. I guess I was still growing up because I was a little BB teenager. I guess that's why I played so much when I was in high school and then, getting older and stuff like that. Because there was so much to explore. There was so much that I hadn't found. There was so much that I still have not found to this day. And then you have things like Master Mode that implement more difficulty, that change aspects of the game in some way, the DLC, just all of these things that you can explore. And so I think that's important. I think it makes sense that they decided to do that. My next hot take, I think the dungeons, or apparently lack thereof, are fine. I don't know. Again, I didn't play the previous Zelda games before playing Breath of the Wild, so I didn't even notice that they weren't quote unquote dungeons. I just thought that they were dungeons, puzzles, hidden things that you find, and that they're trials you have to overcome. What makes it not a dungeon? Like, seriously, I'm genuinely asking all of these people that are like, the dungeons in Breath of the Wild aren't dungeons. Why? I don't know. I don't get it. What makes it not a dungeon? Because as somebody who has now played previous games, I picked up Twilight Princess, I picked up Majora's Mask, I picked up Skyward Sword, and I played their dungeons. I haven't beat any of those games because they're confusing and hard for me. Especially Majora's Mask. Oh my god, I don't understand Majora's Mask at all. At all. Especially with the time reset mechanic, I'm like, am I progressing in this game? I don't know. I felt like I was for maybe like 3 days, and then I wasn't. So yeah, I didn't notice a difference, other than I feel like the ones in Breath of the Wild, at least the second time around, are a lot easier to defeat, a lot easier to think your way through. But when I first played Breath of the Wild, I had to look up freaking tutorials for how to defeat some of the divine beasts. I was having a hard time. I wasn't used to puzzle games. It was really frustrating to me trying to figure out how to get through these things, but that was the point, and I understood that. And so I was like, I just want to have fun with my little explory, stabby, slashy game. I'm gonna look up some guides on how to get through the divine beasts. So the fact that I had just as much difficulty with Breath of the Wild as I did with any of the other games that I refused to look up tutorials for, guides, and walkthroughs for, because I wanted to not cheat the way that I did with Breath of the Wild, I totally think that they were dungeons. I think that they were good. I think that they were challenging, and I had a lot of fun playing them. And then on top of that, you have 120 shrines to play through, and people are mad that there's not bigger dungeons. Just go to the mini dungeons. There's so many, and they're so interesting, and they are fun to play. I don't know why people have so many complaints about things that make it more fun. It doesn't make sense to me. So I do really like that. Another thing that people complain a lot about that I really like is the memories. I think it's fun. Oh my god, you're exploring the world and yourself? What do you mean you don't enjoy that? Like, I love the memories, especially because there's no there's a correct order to find them in, of course, but more often than not, you're going to find them in a completely random order. You're going to randomly stumble upon these memories and find them, experience a cutscene, and slowly start piecing the story of what happened before the calamity on your own. And that is amazing. I think it's super, super cool and really interesting. And people are like, I hate the memories. I think it's stupid that there's all these stupid cutscenes and like we have to backtrack in time and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, first of all, you don't even have to get them. You don't even have to get the memories. I'm pretty sure you could just play the game forever and never get a memory. Ever. You don't even have to do the quest that allows you to do that. You can go straight to Hyrule Castle and kill Ganon if you want to. So why are you complaining about something you don't have to do? Why are you finding the memories if you don't like finding them, huh? Why are you doing that? It doesn't make any sense to me. I think it's a really good mechanic. I think it's really interesting. I think it adds more story to the game. I think it adds more intrigue, more interest, more reason to explore. I think it's good. And then the last thing that I enjoy, that I hear a lot of complaints about, is just Zelda's whole characterization in this game, which I think is ridiculous. People complain so much about Zelda's behavior in this game. People are like, she's whiny, she's annoying, blah, blah, blah. What is wrong with you? What, do you hate girls? Like, she's a child. She's literally a 17-year-old baby. 16-year-old baby, actually, as most of the story is taking place. She's 16 years old, and she has so much pressure put on her, and she has nobody to talk to about that other than Link, who she doesn't even like at first, understandably, because she didn't know him. He was a guy that her father was like, hey, he's really strong, here's a guy, he takes care of you now, instead of me, your father. Here's this random man you've never met, who I pay to follow you around. Do you guys not see how that would be frustrating for a child? A girl? A teenage girl? Do you guys not see how that would be so weird for her? Understandably, I think it's so weird that people are upset that she gets mad at Link. Like, I totally understand that people would be weirded out by, obviously, he's there to protect her, and I think she knows that, but I think part of this Zelda is the understanding that she doesn't need protecting. She needs support, emotional support, primarily, I would think, because she's lost her mother, and now the world's ending. And her father's pretty distant from her, obviously. He's more concerned about her awakening her power than he is about her well-being. Obviously, I understand that he's under a lot of pressure as well. He's got his whole kingdom to worry about. I mean, it's the impending apocalypse. There's so much going on. But, dude, you should have still made time to make sure your daughter was good. What's that about? Anyway, she doesn't essentially have anybody. Well, she has her Bosa, obviously. Those two get pretty close, which I do think is really sweet. Spoilers somehow, if you still haven't finished Breath of the Wild, there's a cutscene. It's one of my favorite cutscenes, one of my favorite memories that you receive in the game, where she's like napping, she's like falling asleep on her Bosa, and then Link shows up and she's like kind of giving him the talk, like, hey, don't you dare hurt this girl. She's my little bird. I love her. And it's so sweet. It's so sweet. And I love that she has kind of like this secure motherly figure that she can go to when she's upset. And then the whole cute little like thunderbolt, and she like scares her and wakes her up, and it's so adorable. I think it's so cute. So yeah, I think the way that Zelda reacts to things in this game make complete sense. She had no support system at first. She had her father constantly hounding her, telling her all of these things that she needs to do, this big responsibility that she has. It's overwhelming. It's terrifying for somebody who is a child. I think that's something that people often forget, is that Zelda in this game is a child burdened with the responsibility of not letting the entire world end. Adults react that way in this situation. And y'all don't complain because you're like, well, the world's ending. But a teenage girl does it, and you're like, she's whiny. She's terrified. What's wrong with you? What is wrong with you? I think she reacts completely understandably to everything that's happening. I understand why she's upset at Link in the beginning. I understand why she's so frustrated about not being able to awaken her powers. I understand why she snaps at everybody, why she's standoffish, why she can be kind of cold, why sometimes she has moments where she's really happy and she's really bonding with Link and with the other champions. I think it makes sense. I think she acts like a person, like a teenage girl would react in the situation that she's in. I think Zelda was characterized great in this game. I think maybe it's a bit of, maybe it's like a change of pace, because like, for example, Skyward Sword, I don't really know how much of Zelda, like how much she's reacting to things in that game, because I don't get to see a lot of Zelda in Skyward Sword. I'm still very early on in the game. I started playing Skyward Sword, I think a year or two ago, and I don't get much time to play, which is why I'm carving out a whole week, for the most part, for me to be able to play Tears of the Kingdom uninterrupted, because I don't get to play a lot. I don't get a lot of downtime, and so I have not nearly gotten through as much Skyward Sword as I would have liked to. So I imagine maybe other Zeldas and other games kind of take the brunt of it with like a little more acceptance, a little less upset, maybe a little bit of, you know, frustration and fear, but it's mostly like collected, kind of like princessy, the way, you know, you would expect a princess to. But I think that the Zelda in Breath of the Wild is a lot less like a princess and a lot more like just a girl. And I like that. I think it's awesome, because a lot of her character, you can see, I don't think she wants to be a princess. I think she likes to just be a girl. She likes to do her research. She likes to explore. She likes to experiment. She likes to document things. She has a personality. Not that the other Zeldas don't. Of course the other Zeldas do. I just think it's portrayed a lot differently. I think she's a lot different than maybe past iterations of Zelda have been portrayed, especially because I think you see a lot more of this Zelda. So you see a lot more of her, and I think that's what's getting people, is they're like experiencing a girl for the first time. No, that's mean. I think just a lot of the people that have complaints about Zelda are more used to her behaving in a different way, but I think that that's refreshing. I think she's behaving. I think a normal way. I think it's, yeah, I don't know. I'm just rambling at this point. Anyway, those are my Zelda hot takes. If you guys have any disagreements with me, let me know in the comments below. If you have some nitpicks with Breath of the Wild, or maybe some things you love about Breath of the Wild that other people hate that I didn't mention in this video, feel free to leave that in the comments down below as well. I definitely want to have everybody talking about Zelda, because that's what I want to talk about right now, because Tears of the Kingdom, oh my god. So stupid excited about it. Anyway, of course, I want to give a huge shout out to my patrons: Elise Thompson, Duran, Mandy, Sleeps, Creative by Twins, Inky Moo Art, Steph, Psychwalker13, Lucian at Crowboy Sketch, Fishnor Flash, and Becky Scribbles. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. The rambling in this video was just absolutely insane. But if you guys want to see more like this, don't forget to subscribe. Check out the Patreon if you want early access to videos. You guys could have seen this yesterday on release day and been super hyped for and with me. But anyway, I love you guys so much, and I'll see y'all on the next one. Bye. Psych! We actually have one more thing for this video. This month has been so crazy that I completely forgot I need to announce the Draw This in Your Style winners. So, in first place, and I'm sorry if I pronounce anybody's name wrong, we have Jenny Paints. Second place, we have Sumi Grace, and third place, we have Fishnor Flesh, which is actually a patron of mine, so I'm very excited that they were able to make it in. I did a wheel spin so that everything would be super random and that all of you guys would have an equal chance to win. I'm so happy that I had so many people enter this Draw This in Your Style. It's literally over double of the amount of entries that I had for my first Draw This in Your Style, so I'm so grateful. And it's so weird because the other Draw This in Your Styles were cross-platform. So many people. That is amazing. Thank you guys so much for joining. I hope you enjoyed this little Draw This in Your Style. And if you missed out because this was an Instagram entry exclusive and you want to have the chance for me to do a Draw This in Your Style here again on YouTube, I will probably do one here in a little while. It'll probably be for whatever is the next big milestone, maybe 6K, maybe 10K, I don't know, but hopefully I'll be able to do one of those soon. Anyways, video is actually over now. I love you guys so much, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye.